Welcome to the Party Starters podcast with me, Kane Towning.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Party Starters podcast with me, Kane Towning. This guest is a very exciting talent hailing from Nottingham. He goes by the name of Bru-C. He is nowadays very much the voice of the new bass sound, working with the likes of Skepsis, Darkzy, Goof, Lorenzo and many more. He started out as an MC host hype man. For those not familiar, a hype man is someone who hosts over another DJ's set and gets the crowd hype. He's made the transition from that into becoming an artist in his own right, building his own brand, releasing his own music, as well as a debut album which is currently on over 20 million streams. I want to find out how and why he made that transition into becoming his own name, his own artist, and what advice he's got for people wanting to make that jump. So listen in and take note.
What you've asked me to do today then, what's this? What's the bigger picture for this? Sorry, I skipped through your but I wanted to get involved anyway. I rate a lot of what you do anyway, regardless. So talk me through it, man.
I appreciate that. Yes, so as I'm sure you do and a lot of other people that I speak to, we're constantly getting asked, like, how do you do this? How do you get how do you get a record deal? How do you put on a night? How do you organize a festival? And there isn't any real answers out there. You can't really read it in a book. You can't watch a YouTube tutorial. The answers lie with yourself and the people that have been there and done it. So I'm speaking to as many people during this time as possible to find out how you've done it, what advice you've got. But then as kind of like a project within a project, I want people to be prepared for what that is like mentally. And, you know, it's not just getting to the festival stage. It's what you have to do to get to that point mentally so that you're prepared for that as well. Because that is something that just isn't out there. Like you could do workshops on how to put an event on or how to make it in the music industry, but no one ever tells you how to deal with the fame, how to deal with the money, how to deal with the crazy tour schedules, how to deal with the drink, the drugs, everything. People aren't prepared for that, and it is, you know, you've got young kids wanting to do this as a career, and I think they need to know exactly what they are getting in for.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So for you, I mean, you can tell your story however you want. You can keep it short and sweet and just offer some advice to people doing that. We can start right from the beginning, or you can touch on anything important that you'd like to tell people who are thinking of starting in the music and nightlife industry.
Okay, so I'm going to take it back because I feel like my story, I've kind of been through a lot of different waves. And not only stayed like more relevant, I've got fans that I've been doing music since like 2010. And I've got people that have been listening to me I'd probably say the earliest that I get messages that will go back as far as like 2012, 2013. So people have been listening to me since then and are still buying into me as a fan and as a consumer. So started off in a band and I was doing like rap battles and grime and stuff, but I was very kind of like in between two different sounds. So I think it's fine to be like that and to do that while you're enjoying it and having fun. And also while I was doing that, the stuff that I was making, like I got kicked out of school when I was 15. I had no business knowledge. I just did music because I wanted to do music. We were recording it in my friend's bedroom. I'd buy CDs from Tesco. I'd write on them and get my mum to help me cut them out, put them in, you know what I'm saying? Whack them up, sell them. That was it. And that wasn't, you know, I wasn't like counting the money and be like, right, now I've got that money, now I can sell this many. I'd just like probably just buy an eighth, get and crack. You know what I'm saying? Like that was like, you know, as every day as it comes now that I look back. But I was very split between two sounds. So I think that kind of put me in a position where, because I was so like, you know, 1 minute I'd be doing like reggae ska, next minute I'd be, you know, doing like a grime clash or something like that. I think it's important for you to know what sound you're putting out. And also the other part of what I was saying in terms of not having a professional sound and a professional kit, that's, you know, that can be a good thing and a bad thing, because it's like, I know people that have waited years to release music until they got everything crafted and they learned the trade and that worked for them. But then you've got people like me who just went for it and learned as they went and made all the mistakes in the book publicly, and that works too. So, you know, that would be my first bit of advice, would just be, you know, to definitely know your sound, but then with the other part, it would be, there are no rules in it. So you can do it however which way. Just because somebody's done it and they've blown up off doing it, it doesn't mean that you're going to do that and it's going to work for you. It doesn't mean that because you've got this idea and somebody said that it's a bad idea because they saw somebody do it differently, that it is a bad idea. It's all about going with your gut, your instinct, and just doing it how you want to do it.
So you're saying definitely learn as you go?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's what I did, but I'm saying if you want to do that, cool. But if you want to stay at home and work on your sound and learn and then get really good and then put stuff out, that's cool as well. Like, it's just whatever you feel like you want to do. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. I am a big kind of learn as you go. I think
you and Tom are a complete like example of that, because I first saw Tom Zanetti because I grew up listening to a lot of grime, and I wasn't really, I've always been into dance music, but in terms of a consumer from like a side of dance music that you guys were doing, I had no clue about it, because it just wasn't on my radar. When I was listening to music, you'd get local sets or you'd get London sets. That was it. Do you know what I'm saying? Actually, tell a lie. There was a lot of bassline. So I was obviously not. I was listening to so much bassline, but yeah, your thing was a bit different. But you know, when you watch like I was going to say, the first time I saw you guys was the Charlie Sloth thing.
right, yeah.
If you look at that now, I'm sure you'd look back and look at the way you were dressed and the whole setup, and you'd be looking at, you know what I'm saying? But that's part of your growth. And if you didn't do that, you would have never got to fucking, you know what I'm saying? You have to go from you don't go from A to Z without going through B, C, D, E, F, you know what I'm saying? So it can be a thing to just get stuck in and make the mistakes. You know, fail your way to the top is one of my favorite quotes.
Yeah, one of mine, just really short and sweet, is just do something. The more you decide and the more you should you do this, should you do that, you're just wasting time. So if you,
that was my journey, I'm not, you know, but then again, I do know of other people that have taken different journeys. But one thing I will say, I think this is so important. I'm so glad that you've said that, because it's just reminded me of the best advice that I could give someone, and it would be, your journey is better off being a marathon than a sprint. So say if you had a graph, my career would be, you'd see it, you know, say if that was, you know, fame, success, Bru-C, you'd see it just slowly go and rise and rise and rise and rise. It's never really, I've never had a bang and then you know what I'm saying? I've never just had one tune bang and then all of a sudden everyone thinks you're a dick. Like, that's never happened for me. And I'm quite glad, because it's been at my time, it's been at my, you know what I'm saying? It's been controllable. Do you get what I'm saying? Whereas I see some people, they'll kind of, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, and it's great if you get that success. But what I'm saying is, it's like, don't think just because somebody else has just gone and blown up that they've got everything. I see people blow up with a big label. They're not making a fucking penny. And the next, the label's dropped them. They've all of a sudden go back to the graph that's gone from there. Now they're there. And to go from there to there is so much harder than to go from here to, do you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'd say just take your time. Don't rush things, and don't give up so quickly. If you're like, I could have given up 4 or 5 years ago. I wasn't making a lot of money. I had a good fan base, but you know, a lot of people, you know, I had family members saying to me, you know, you're never going to make anything out of this. Like, you know, literally. And that was 4 or 5 years ago. And it's like, even 2, 3 years ago, you could have maybe said the same thing. Even last year, 2 years before that, when I was only getting a couple £100 a show. I've got friends who have left school and gone and worked for the fucking Royal Air Force engineering planes and shit that are on 50k a year from 16, 17, while I've been here bringing up a kid with fuck all. Bailiffs coming to my mum's house when I was 18, 19 years old, selling fucking weed, you know what I'm saying? Like, coming from nothing. And now I'm getting to a position where it's like, I'm a multi-business owner, turning over fucking whatever figures. And that's because of that pattern. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I never now take what I've got and go, right, I've made this amount of money. Now I can just put it in that, flip that, and then double it in a day.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's not how the process works. You know, it could work like that, but then what? Then you go and try and do it again and you go bang and you drop straight back down. You get what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, there are some risk takers and that could work for other people. I'm just talking about my journey and what advice I could give you from my journey. So I'd say definitely marathon. You want it to be a marathon, man. You want it to be, you know, slow and steady wins the race. You know what I'm saying? Take your time with it.
Yeah, I think as well, doing it like that, you've got them foundations so that when you do get up there, if you do drop a level, you know how to deal with that, and you know you've got other things, and you know you're smart enough to overcome that drop to get back up there or be happy with that drop. Whereas if you just go boom straight to the top and then come back down with no experience and no foundations behind you, then
it can cripple you, and it ruins people. It ruins people's careers, man. They take a bit of, you know, I've took so much criticism over the years. Like, fam, my brain is that criticism side of my brain is made of steel, bro. You can't penetrate that now. You can't say shit to me, bro. I've been through too much, and I've worked too hard for a few YouTube comments or something like that would affect another artist, you know, that's just coming up, and you know, it's not the same thing.
Mm. So, I mean, the last 2 years have definitely just like you've just spiraled. From an outsider looking in, you know, you've been super busy. You've been on all the major festivals. You've done tours in Australia, in New Zealand. So I'd say the last 2 years would be a busy couple of years for you. What
Yeah.
has that been like? What has the transition from kind of doing the club shows to the festival stages to the touring? What's the schedule and the transition of that been like?
I'd kind of say, like, I would have expected it to be a bit more like, you know, and again, this goes back to the marathon kind of thing, where it's kind of just happened, isn't it? It's not like I woke up one day and all this shit was going on. It's kind of like one more thing happened one day, then another thing happened the next day, then the tour's coming up, then, you know, you and I's come out, and it's, you know, it's been one thing that's, it's not, you know, nothing drastically has gone bang on. My life's fucking, you know, amazing all of a sudden. I'm still on the same journey. I know how easily it could slip off if I took it for granted and thought I was the man and I'd made it. And I know what I need to do to keep it going. So it's definitely exciting. You know, it's been amazing. Don't get me wrong, the festivals and everything has been incredible. Like, this is stuff that I've been manifesting and working hard for like over a decade. So for it to finally be happening, yeah, it's been amazing. I'd say the most positive side of things has been the freedom of just being able to just work for myself, really, and have that, you know, that self-esteem boost that I didn't have growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Just reinforced that these ideas that I've got and that I've had, they actually mean something now. You know, it's sad, but you know, in 2020, you know, sometimes you need this to happen for your ideas and your dreams and your creativity to be established. It needs to, you know, that's kind of how society works nowadays to a degree, whether you like it or not. That can be subconscious, that can be, whether you follow that or not, that's, you know, that is part of society. So that's definitely the positives, man. And, you know, just going around to all these different places and having fans is amazing. Going back to what you said earlier when you were talking about, you know, the things people don't see from the stage, from just, you know, the lavish lifestyle where people think, you know, you live in the dream, you know, 24/7, and it's definitely not the case. So obviously, being in nightclubs weekend in, weekend out, at first is really fun, and it still is fun all the way to the end. Don't get me wrong. There's not very often a time where I don't enjoy being there in that moment. But it does get tough when you're either consuming too much drink, and I've never really had a problem with drugs. Smoked a bit of weed growing up, but dabbling a few other bits. I can say that, you know, I'm not ashamed of that, but it's never really been a problem for me. But saying that, you know, when you're drinking weekend in, weekend out, it still will have an effect on you in the late nights. I'd say another thing that's tough, you know, people always get this image of what backstage is like, and I'm sure you'll relate to this sometimes when you go backstage and you're just sat on the sofa or whatever's there and you're just like, fucking hell, this is, you know what I'm saying? Like, either get stuck into what's going on around you, or there's no one there and it's just you and your DJ, or just you and Tom. I'm sure there would have been other times, and you've been with each other on how many flights and how many fucking, oh, and it's just like, fucking hell, I'm so bored of this. And you kind of get into this place where it's like you're in a bubble, and and you look and you can poke your head into the rave and you think, I've just been in this place in like 8 or 9 different cities, and it's like I feel like I'm in a fucking bubble and this is like a different world. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Do you relate?
No, completely. Yeah, it's been. I mean, this time now, you know, is just it's so valuable to step back and just reflect and enjoy it, because you are so consumed and your schedule's so crazy that you're just going from one rave to the next without stopping for even an hour and thinking, fuck, that was absolutely ace. I've just done that.
Yeah. And I think another thing that was, you know, kind of negative, it's kind of been a bit better recently since I met my new partner, but you know, when you go from playing these shows, and especially on tour in Australia, it was tough, man. Like, where it doesn't matter how mentally strong you are, and I'd say I'm somebody that is relatively strong in that sense. But you know, when you go from going from place to place and meeting new people, and then going on stage to thousands of people, and you're the man, and every night of that tour, you go back to a hotel room on your own.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go and get on a flight the next day on your own, and then you're getting up and you're staying up till whatever time and getting another early. That shit's tough, man.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people I speak to touch on that, because it's been different for me, because I've always had Tom. So it's like traveling with your best friend, and
yeah.
You know, whereas I couldn't imagine doing that on my own. And
I've never done it on my own. I've always been with Skepsis when I've done it, especially in Australia and stuff like that. Like, there's not often I've been like completely on my own, but I just mean, you know, getting back from a wild nightclub, you know, say night.
Oh, you mean from the high to the?
Yeah. I'd say night step, and then I'd go to the hotel room. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that part, I just find it weird. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, when we're both in a place where we were pretty chilled, like we're not like going wild every night when we're in Australia. We, you know, we both got girlfriends at home, and we're thinking, you know, we've got a long time here. Let's not fuck our heads completely and just go for it. Let's like chill it out. And it was a bit weird, man.
Yeah, no, again, that goes back to the foundations you've laid. You know, you've been doing this a long time, and it's a natural step. It's not as if you've just gone from straight up to them shows, which you'd have probably been very excited and
I've been fucking moving mad. I think that's definitely a positive that I take from it. While I'd have liked to have been a bit younger, and a bit more wild and not had a son and shit, it's probably for the best that I have. I mean,
and how is it having a son and being on tour and everything that comes with the industry?
Yeah, it's good, man. It's good. I'd probably say he's a reason that I am where I am. You know, since he was born. I think it was when he got to about 2 years old. He's 5 now, so it does go back to around the time when I did start to, you know,
Take off, yeah.
Yeah, when I started to take off, and he was in my bedroom. So when me and my ex-partner, his mum, split up, I went and moved in with my friend, and I was living in his attic in like one of the roughest areas of Knots. Like, you know, this fucking like big Turkish Romanian community there, and they're all out on the streets every night. Like, it's like terrace back-to-back houses down every street. You know, you come out, there's smashed glass everywhere and shit. And it was like either go in there and have the space to, you know, properly work. Because I had a studio set up under the stairs when I was living with them. So it was either, you know, stay there in this place and wasn't happy. I wasn't being able to fully fulfill my dream. It was almost like I was settling this life that I didn't want, or it was go move in with him and fucking go for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I took the ballsy choice, innit? I left there and I was living in his attic, bro, in the fucking slum. You know what I'm saying? Well, not the slum, but, you know, in a rough estate. And I was with my son, you know, in this attic room, and he's in the mirror dancing with a mic, with one of my mics. He's like 2 years old, 3 years old, and I can remember just looking at him, just thinking, there is no fucking way that he's ever gonna look up to me and I'm not gonna be the man. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I could be one of these waste MCs and him looking at me thinking that what I do is sick. Like, that's it now. I've got to make this work. Like, that was the moment that I kind of thought,
wow.
Yeah. So yeah, he's definitely one of the main reasons that I'm here, for many reasons. You know, when you have a kid, you have to lock off from a lot of things and a lot of people. And I realized, as much as I was a part of the scene in Knots, I was a part of the scene of people that are like, just fucking part of the furniture. I'm sure you know exactly what I mean. The people that are just in the rave every week talking about the tune they're going to release, rather than actually, you know how many times you have a conversation with someone saying, yeah, we'll go studio next week, bro. Yeah, we'll work on that event next week.
Mm-hmm.
Monday comes around, they're still fucking in bed. You know what I'm saying? They're still recovering from all the shit they've been chatting. The house party's till 6 in the morning. Whereas I actually wanted to do these things and make these things happen.
Yeah, you had
And having a son help me get there because of the responsibility. But it's been tough because of being away on weekends. But at the same time, like, I feel like the time I do get with my son now, because of the freedom that I have through the job, I don't think I would have it any better, to be completely honest. So I don't mind having these weekends away where I don't see him for a bit of time. You know, I'm not with his mum, so I wouldn't have been there with him day by day anyway. And I see him a lot. You know, we've got a great relationship. I've got good freedom, and he's got something to look up to, financial stability. So yeah, it's as far as it with my son, there's definitely negatives, but not many as far as I see it.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. So being an MC, obviously you do a lot of work with Skepsis. Skepsis, is he your official DJ, or do you just
No,
is it just worked out like that?
So more recently, so when we first started out about 3 years ago, yeah, he was, I'd probably say we'd officially go out together, you know, Skepsis and Bru-C, but then he'd do a lot of solo stuff on his own without me when his fees started to get a bit higher. And I was kind of in a place where I had a good fan base and I was releasing a lot of my own music, but he had a much bigger fan base. And then we'd get a lot of crew cast shows. But then after I released my last album in November, it's just like my solo profile has now gone mad. Sold out 2 solo UK tours, one with Live Nation, one off my own back. Got a New Zealand tour that was supposed to be in May that's been rescheduled on my own. Well, with guy Oliver, Dr. Gray's name is. He's my DJ for my PA shows. So yeah, things are changing, man. I'm going into a place now, especially after this has all happened. I don't want to be and like, love to Skepsis, and I've told this to him straight. So, you know, I know he won't mind me saying this, but I'm not in that place anymore. Like, a hype man is a party starter. What good is it me being a party starter if I'm not partying?
Mm-hmm.
That would just be fucking false to myself. And I think that's another bit of good advice that I could give to people, would be to not try and be anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I spent a long time in my early days of my career trying to be like this grime MC that was on road and when I wasn't really. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was around people that were, and I didn't come from a well-off background, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't doing the things I was talking about. And that's, again, comes to this. It's, you know, a few of my songs that I've made more recently talking about my low times and my anxiety and when I went through a depressed time. It was a ballsy risk, and a lot of people had said to me, you don't want to talk to your audience about not taking drugs and not drinking and shit, because that's what they do. If you do that, you'll turn them all against you, kind of thing. And I was like, fuck that, I'm just doing who I am, like. And it worked so much for the better as well.
And what was the decision in doing that? Because it is such a ballsy decision, and you know, the stuff I see that you put out on socials is so mature and, you know, quite deep, and not what you would expect from a person in, you know, from the grime scene. Obviously you don't do grime now, it's more the bassline stuff, but you're still massive audience is a younger audience. So what
So
was
the reason
thinking
being,
there?
so 2 reasons. Number one, again, going back to being selfish, it helps me so much, bro. Like, helping others is, you know, life's not about what you get, it's about what you give, and the more you give, the more you get. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it gives me a lot. People are invested into me. I want to be an influencer, and I want to, you know, put out positive energy to people, because I know that's what I'll receive. So that's the first reason. Second reason being, like, I grew up around a lot of drink and drugs, and I smoked weed from 13 years old. Like, if my son picked up a spliff at 13, I'd lose my fucking shit, bro.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I can kind of, you know, I still drink and do shit. So you'll notice I'll have one song where I'll be talking about, you know, positives and all the might, but then I'll have another song where I'm talking about getting waved and whatever, because I am me in it. Like, judge me if you want to judge me, cool. That is me. I'm not I'm not a preacher. I'm not found, you know, some sober lifestyle. Like, I still go back and forth. You know what I'm saying? But if I can make a good if I can set a good example
Mm-hmm.
for the generation coming up that want to be in raves all the time and are kind of getting fed, you know, I think say no names, but a lot of artists out there, they do sell a dream of what they do for a living. You know, buy these tickets here, come here, but then, you know, half the time these kids are getting messed up by this shit, man. So it's like, I'd rather play one show a month or one show every 2 months, and then be showcases of music from, from deeper music to the harder stuff to whatever, than just be trying to make that one party hit and just be fucking, I'm saying, like.
Yeah, I can imagine you're just much more happier doing
Yeah.
you. You're not having to act. You're wanting to do you.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. And it's like, when you chase, like, you and I, for example, is about to hit 12 million streams in under a year.
Wow, that's
And
nuts.
yeah, it's fucking nuts, bro. And
What's your album on now? It was 19 million.
on 21 million streams.
Jesus, and that came out in November.
Yeah.
So it's not even a year.
That's not even a year, not even half a year. Well, just coming up on half a year. And yeah, I'm not in any rush to make another tune like you and I. Like, if it comes, it comes. Don't get me wrong. And I'm definitely working on a few bits in the background. But it's like I'm not, I'm just trying to make music as it comes. Like, so this song, I don't know if you've heard a clip of the song I'm about to release with Chris Lorenzo, the introspective tune.
Yeah, it's wicked.
Yeah, thank you, bro. So I wrote that tune was it January? Yeah, sorry, I'm talking to my missus. We're just at the office working. So I wrote that in January before all this shit happened.
Yeah.
And I demoed it, sent it in. He was like, yeah, this is sick. I was thinking, cool, I'll save it for the second album at the end of the year. And then all this happened. And then I listened back and I was like, yo, this is fucking mad. Like, so much of what I'm saying is so relevant to what's happening right now. So then I just added in a few more bits towards the end of the song that really, are relevant with it. And then, yeah, just released it. And that's the beauty of music, isn't it? It's like, and when Lorenzo made that tune for me, I'm so gassed to work with Lorenzo because he's a fucking legend. And he sent me a Liquid tune that's kind of like, fucking hell, what's he sent me this for? Do you know what I mean?
You wanted a banger?
Yeah, I wanted that club banger. And I thought, what? Trust the process, innit?
Yeah.
He sent you for a reason. Give it a go. And now look, do you know what I'm saying? I could have said to him, oh, no, I don't want to send me a house banger. And he's gone, yeah, I'll send you something in a bit. Never sends anything. Then I ain't got Lorenzo. Then I ain't got a tune that's about to, this song could fucking shape a lot of lives and it means something to people. Do you know what I'm saying? So trust in the process is fucking key out here, man. You've got to go with the flow. Don't be forcing tunes because it won't get you anywhere.
Yeah, I think because you are doing you now as well, and you're not forcing anything. You can just take it at your own pace. You're not trying to throw out the next club banger, or you're not trying to stay even relevant. You're just in your own lane doing.
I say that I don't have times where, I think we all have those times where you get a bit impatient, and like at the moment I've got so many tunes, and it's like one day I'm saying I'm going to do a little lockdown EP. I feel like I need to get as much out as possible because everything's drying up and half my businesses are on pause, and the next minute I'm saying what I'm saying to you. So it's, I definitely do go back and forth between them, but yeah, for the most part I definitely like to just do what I want to do. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's just the businessman in you. You always think you need to be doing something, and it is harder to just step back and not do things. Especially in this time, it's like you've got time on your hands and you're like, shit, I need to be doing this, I need to be putting that out. It's just like, just relax.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely.
So what was the biggest step from, because you most certainly have become an artist in your own right now, what was the biggest step into doing that, going from a hype man to your own artist? Is you just knew you wanted to do that? And how would other people do that? Because there's a lot of people there just emceeing other people's sets. And how do you go from being just a hype MC to becoming your own artist?
So it's always been part of the goal. I can remember early days when my manager was kind of saying to me, I was like, yeah, I want to be Skepsis' official MC and that's it. And he was like, you got no chance. He was like, don't do it. He basically said, no, you're not doing that. Let Skepsis play his shows on his own. And then when you're getting them shows on your own, you can play those shows on your own. And I'm thinking that ain't going to fucking happen. You know what I'm saying? That's literally how I thought. I thought, I need to just be a hype man and be, one of these other guys that's, been around for years. And that's how I would keep around. That's how I'd keep relevant for years, being this host that kind of goes from, successful art, you see him, man, and, no disrespect to him because, fair enough, that's what you want to do, but that was the plan. But, he said, look, you've got a fan base, like you've got a good fan base and you release more the music than these high host MCs. Like you've got something, just keep running with it. So, it's always been a goal to kind of do my own thing. and it definitely hit home. It was the album. I was getting solo bookings before that, and some would be sick. Some would turn up and there'd be like 30 people there. And the biggest shows I was playing then were Crewcast and with Skepsis. I wasn't, selling out any big shows then on my own. And really, I'm yet to sell out a massive show on my own. I'm yet to do like a solo Bru-C 2000, 2000, yeah, sorry, I sold out Lakota. That was like 1,500. And I think that's the biggest one I've done is Lakota. But even then, there was still, Skepsis and Sammy and other people on the bill. So still got a long way to go, man. But yeah, the album's changed everything. And it's like, yeah, when we do come back, I think I'm going to be in a good position to be doing it, because especially I just think the attitude I've kind of taken to this all happening. I've got a friend who lives in Spain, and I've got some very knowledgeable people around me that had foreseen everything that had happened and told me and warned me.
Wow.
So in that time that everyone was kind of panicking, and you go through the mental side of it all. I'd kind of already done that a few weeks before, got all my shit ready, and then by the time we actually went into lockdown, I'd already been in lockdown. Like me and my girl had already been in lockdown for like a week before that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'd been told and what I'd researched and shit, and yeah, I feel like I'm in a good place right now, man. I'm working hard, and yeah, and I know it. That's the thing in it. I think a lot of people are just so unsure about everything, which is rightly so. It's like, when's it going to come back? When's it going to come back? Don't matter. Just know it's going to come back, and when it does, fucking ready, bro. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, well, you seem in a really good place, and I'm excited to see where you go. You seem good. You seem happy. You seem good vibes.
Yeah, feel good, man. Feel confident, ready for the clubs to reopen and just life to go back to normal.
Welcome to the Party Starters podcast with me, Kane Towning.
I know you're gonna dig this.